Hello, my name is Tom Higginbotham, and I'm a Power Platform Technology Specialist with Microsoft. I'm excited to be bringing you this session on how Power Platform represents an ideal opportunity for you to improve productivity and automation on top of SAP. Before we begin, I need to cover a few housekeeping items to ensure you get the most out of today's session. First, be advised that this is not a one-to-one event and is being made available to multiple Microsoft customers. As such, your name, avatar, and email address could be visible to others on today's call. If you are uncomfortable with this for any reason, feel free to drop now and we can follow up after the session. Today's session is being recorded. At the conclusion, we will post the recording to our new Power Platform U YouTube channel for on-demand viewing. We will send out notifications with a link to each who registered for this session, and you can also search for Power Platform U to view our other recorded content. While you cannot turn on chat, microphone, or video in today's session, you can utilize the Teams Q&A feature in the top navigation. We have a live panel who will be addressing questions as they come in. So without further ado, let's get started. We'll begin by meeting Joyce, who may have a similar career profile to you or others in your organization. Joyce is a 30-plus year line of business lead working closely with the IT team to improve processes and innovate. Lately, Joyce has not been sleeping well. Our budgets have taken a hit, and we're being asked to do more with less. Will we be able to deliver on our KPIs with our already stretched resources? I need to switch between systems to do my job. How can we use more automation to reduce errors and save time? I spend most of my time in Microsoft Office and Teams, and I am constantly switching over to SAP processes and data. Is there a way to use these tools together so that I can increase my productivity? How can we extend SAP with AI, machine learning, or chatbots without getting into a long IT development cycle? In other words, how can I do more with less and do it faster? This is a common set of problems that Microsoft can help address. Over 75% of the world's transaction revenue is processed through an SAP system, representing $16 trillion of consumer purchases worldwide. Microsoft has been a customer and has had a deep relationship with SAP for more than 25 years. This partnership has allowed Microsoft to provide SAP customers with scalable, innovative, and comprehensive technology platforms comprised of Azure, Microsoft 365, and Power Platform. This approach provides customers with the ability to innovate and develop applications faster, improve productivity by reducing the number of systems used and number of clicks, improve efficiency by adding intelligence and automation, and innovating faster through fusion development where IT is an enabler and not just doing all the work. So in terms of low code, Microsoft Power Platform is a single platform comprised of tools that all work together. This map provides an illustration starting on the left-hand side. First, Power Pages. Power Pages provides the ability to build and host business websites or portals. Power Apps provides the ability to rapidly build phone, tablet, and desktop applications. Copilot Studio provides the ability to customize Copilot experiences and build new conversational chatbots to run in apps, web pages, or Microsoft Teams. AI Builder provides the ability to add intelligence to apps or processes that can glean insights from the data that you provided. Power Automate is a powerful automation tool that provides an intuitive drag-and-drop interface to create rules-based workflows that can save time on routine tasks. Digital process automation is API-based, meaning that the application being driven is through that application's exposed API. Power Automate Process Mining provides the ability to understand real business processes, how they are operated, and can help identify opportunities for improvement, automation, and digitization. Power Automate Robotic Process Automation, or RPA, provides the ability to automate repetitive, manual, and rule-based tasks in a software application via its user interface. Dataverse is the low-code, cloud-based service of Power Platform that serves as the storage for any business data. And finally, Power BI can analyze and visualize raw data and make it actionable, including any data that is created or generated from any of the Power Platform tools just described. Well, now let's follow this same map from an SAP integration point of view, again starting on the left. A Power Pages site for users to request assistance, such as a self-service portal that serves up information from SAP. A mobile-based app running on a phone or tablet that can capture a signature, barcode, or photo of an asset that's being inspected. Querying a chatbot via Microsoft Teams to look up financial, inventory, or HR data from SAP. A shared email inbox that receives documents such as orders or invoices that can be read, digitized, and processed into SAP. An action occurs in a downstream process, such as an approval, and that approval triggers a call into an SAP BAPI. Connect to SAP to identify and discover opportunities for process improvement. Perform UI-based automation of SAP if SAP is not yet API enabled, using Power Automate Desktop. A particular SAP use case may require additional data to be captured. To follow the Keep the Core Clean principle, the reference data is stored in Dataverse rather than SAP, and that data might be used for finance reviews prior to committing to the SAP system. And finally, a Power BI supply chain, financial, or manufacturing dashboard based on SAP or other enterprise data. So before beginning an SAP integration project, you should assess where you're at in your Power Platform adoption maturity journey. As shown here, Power Platform spans the spectrum of citizen developers on the left side to professional developers on the right-hand side. Oftentimes, organizations begin their Power Platform journey by innovating and solving problems with basic business processes. As adoption matures with some simpler apps in production, the focus can move to more complex enterprise business processes, such as those that are run and managed within SAP. It's important that this whole spectrum be part of your journey. Now, fusion development is a methodology that involves multidisciplinary teams of developers, users, and business leaders who use low-code platforms to build applications that solve real business needs or challenges. Fusion development aims to break the silos between different types of developers and stakeholders and to scale application development faster and more efficiently. It's a collaborative approach that brings together different skills and perspectives to create more effective solutions. From a Power Platform perspective, the professional developers in their preferred tools on the left utilize the pro-code tooling within Microsoft Azure to serve the needs of citizen developers utilizing the low-code Power Platform tools on the right. The SAP BAPI developers and operational leads would likely fall into the pro-dev area as well. It's critical to adopt a strong governance policy as well as the fusion development approach when embarking on an SAP integration project. This ensures that teams have access to only the environments, data sources, and connectors that they're entitled to. Power Platform provides governance, data loss prevention, security role management, application lifecycle management, and center of excellence tools to ensure an effective approach. It also provides environment management to have your common dev, testing, and prod instances either in a separate environment structure or a central environment structure. Next, let's discuss the SAP specific components that are delivered for Power Platform. There are three main categories of SAP integration illustrated here. API-based on the left, RPA-based or UI-based in the top right, and data or batch synchronization-based in the lower right. While all three are areas of Power Platform, the focus of this presentation will be on the SAP ERP connector here on the left-hand side. The SAP Procurement Enterprise template to be discussed next utilizes this SAP ERP API-based connector. This connector can invoke any BAPI, custom RFC, or SAP Classic API. The connector requires the data gateway as a prerequisite, which handles the authentication to SAP based on how it is configured in your implementation. A couple of additional notes on the connector are that because both Power Automate and Azure Logic apps share the same underlying engine, the SAP ERP connector can be used by both Logic apps or Power Automate. The connector can also handle complex APIs, those that could have more than 30 plus parameters and several hundred fields. Can be handled by the SAP ERP connector. There are also specialized functions available to support SAP string and sort arrays, leading zeros, and the standard RFC read table function module. These functions can be referenced within the appropriate Power Automate flow when it's being built, as shown here. Advanced connector support is also provided for load-balanced message servers, gateway servers, and SSO configurations with Kerberos delegation. The enterprise templates for Power Platform are solutions that serve as starting points or accelerators for specific use cases and outcomes. They're built for centralized teams to locally install, extend, and deploy. The collection of Power Platform enterprise templates continues to grow. The templates themselves are open source and provided in the GitHub repo as shown here lower center. 5 templates are now available: procurement, employee recognition, employee rewards, employee onboarding, and employee hardware requests from IT. Of these five that are available, the procurement template is the one that utilizes the SAP ERP connector just discussed. Now, the procurement template includes 6 ready-to-run Power Apps that provide the UI. Those Power Apps are illustrated on the right-hand side. The underlying business logic used by these apps is encapsulated in a collection of over 40 Power Automate cloud flows. And these cloud flows connect to SAP via the SAP connector. This decoupling approach allows you to easily reuse a particular flow in a new solution without re-engineering the whole thing. For example, use the item lookup cloud flow that's used in the purchase order app to build a product search app. Now, this illustrates the structure of a product search app. The product search app has a little text box where you enter the part you want to look up, and when you click search, it calls the particular cloud flow, which calls the SAP connector, retrieves the product from the SAP system, and then extracts the price from that item and returns that item back to the Power app and displays that price in the green field shown here. This is an example of an end-to-end procure-to-pay scenario that the procurement template provides. Starting with the Power Apps Purchase Orders app, an employee with access to the app creates a PO in SAP. If the PO is greater than $1,000, the manager for the employee receives a PO approval notification and approves that in Teams. In the warehouse clerk uses the Goods Receipt Power app and receives the goods against the purchase order. The receipt against the purchase order is saved to SAP. PO owner is notified via Teams that the goods have been received. At some point, the supplier emails the invoice as a PDF attached to an email, and that email comes in to a common inbox. A Power Automate flow is then triggered based on conditions of the email, the type of email, and what needs to happen. That Power Automate flow then calls the AI Builder model for OCR, which reads the appropriate invoice fields from the attached PDF, loads that data that has been extracted from the PDF into SAP, and performs the three-way match. If the three-way match fails, the accounts payable clerk receives a Copilot chatbot message in Teams and resolves the mismatch. And finally, once the three-way match succeeds, the payment is unblocked in SAP and is paid based on the vendor payment terms. So pretty straightforward procure-to-pay scenario. So finally, a few other SAP use case considerations. Some various examples that we have observed from other customers include building task-based apps that simplify complex data entry, such as consolidating multiple fields from screens or transactions onto one screen. Building apps or reports that integrate with non-SAP data, such as CRM or HR systems. Building apps that use other devices, such as call center, warehouse scanners, or mobile devices. Building integrations with web pages, such as passing Amazon orders automatically into SAP. Building offline applications for mobile and/or tablet devices. And finally, approving workflows with data in or out of SAP, such as approving a price change for salespeople. Customers often ask about Power Apps compared to SAP Fiori or SAP Build. This decision tree provides a distinction. If the use case is purely within SAP, Fiori or Build are more appropriate tools. On the other hand, if the use case is cross-system and involves SAP integration with Microsoft 365 or Microsoft Teams, Power Platform is a better approach. The templates, connectors, AI, governance, and fusion development are also strengths of Power Platform. In terms of coexistence, Fiori apps can be embedded in Power Apps menus, and Power Apps can be embedded in the Fiori Launchpad. And finally, as the footnote states, if the use case is purely to rebuild a standard SAP screen, SAP tools are more appropriate. The following is a list of resources and links. Note that the procurement template getting started article, this one here in the middle, provides the full reference for setting up and configuring the gateway and the connector, as well as the appropriate licensing requirements on Power Apps, Power Automate, and SAP. And also note the Power Platform U page on YouTube. This recorded session will end up on this page along with many of the others that our team has published in the last few months. Thank you for your time today and appreciate the time.